morning. So I wanted to say that a lot of the times we feel low, like I don't want to get out of bed. I feel like, what's the point of doing anything? I'm just going to be rubbish at it or crap at it. So we literally talk ourselves into failure. And then when we see a little bit of hurt, we experience a bit of hurt, we're like, crap, I can't do this, right? We give up. And we also have this really reliable negative friend that is just like there. Like, you're so powerful, we're so powerful. We have this friend who's so reliable and always there. So when you're just feeling that little bit more vulnerable, they appear. Either you call them or you bump into them, or they just appear. They're just there, ready to just mash you up and just there, ready to tell you, stay down, you can't do this. And then we listen to that friend and we're like, you know what, they're right. And it appears that at some point we're going to get tired of that cycle, because that cycle is just not going to work, because we all have something like deep down that we want to do. And the problem is, to figure out what we want to do, we need to make our mistakes. But then you've got that voice and that friend going, well, you're really rubbish at that. So then you don't even bother committing yourself to finding out whether you can do what you want to do. And you have to remember, you must fail. You must try something, and then you're not going to be successful. And then you're going to learn from that error, and then you're going to apply it, and then you're going to get better and better. And then eventually it's going to be revealed what you're meant to do, right? But if you don't start, and if you're worried about making a mistake at the beginning, and you've got this good or reliable friend just always there, just tap, just letting you know that, you know, you're not going to be able to do it, then you're never going to achieve what you want to achieve. And achieving what you need to achieve is baby steps. You're not going to do it immediately. So you need to be aware of that negative. You might be like one of these really powerful people, and you've just got like a bunch of them like around you, just giving you that negative advice. But you know it's wrong. You know they're wrong because it's niggling at you. You still want to do what you want to do. So the best thing is to pay attention to your behavior and how you're attracting this backup. It's like backup singers, you know, backup negative posse. You're the lead. You know, you've got your own voice telling you can't do it, and then you've got the ones backing you up going, yeah, you can't. Right? Maybe it's just one with an amazing voice, just like, you can't do it. Maybe there's a few just humming, no, you can't do it. But anyway, you need to be aware, and it's very easy. Once you're aware, it's easy to reverse your power and just decide to cut your ties, or just don't call them. Or just learn to be friends with them in a different way. Don't invite them into your life, into your dreams. That's so intimate and so personal when you like tell people your private business, and then you invite them and then they advise you, and then you like, it's a bad cycle. So you need to get rid. So that's the one thing I would say, is that you find comfort in the fact that your voice is telling you no, and then you've got this additional external voice telling you no. So if you want to begin to feel like you're advancing, the first step is like recognizing the self-doubt. But you're listening to this post, right? So it means you can do this. Something's pulling you into this space, so you can do it. I'm sure you have enough evidence to prove that you can start pursuing your goals. And then the second thing is that I wanted to say, so get rid of the negatives. The second thing I wanted to say is you have to be open. You have to really be open and present, because there's messages that come through, and I call them like messages from God, but it's also messages from the universe, of power greater than yourself directing you. Like, that's moving you into your path, into your calling, right? And the messages that you need to get to do that can come through the most unlikely person, right? So it could be that even that negative person's behavior, what they say, is actually guiding you. And if you listen hard, you'll know what you need to do to get to the next step, right? So what I always say is that bless that negative experience you're having, or that negative behavior you're experiencing, because it's actually guiding you into where you need to go to next. So there's no need to absorb the hurt, the disappointment, feeling like a failure. Recognize that you are nervous, scared, intimidated by what you want to achieve, intimidated by maybe understanding the market you're going to be entering into. It's okay to accept fear and recognize it. But as you recognize it, you have to step towards it. That's the only way you're going to achieve your goals. Because unless you go past the unknown, you won't know what's behind it. And you'll always learn it's worth it, because at least you can say, all right, then I wasn't successful, but at least I did it. But to not do it would be ridiculous. Like, you have to do it. You have to challenge yourself, right? So that's what I wanted to say, right? I did this post on a fantastic webcam. Like, everything was great. And I don't know what went wrong. But I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that kind of, like, I can't do this because that's not working. So I'm basically using my phone. But that's the message, right? The message is that it's coming through, and it's coming through. Sometimes it comes to the best person you want it to come through. Like, you love the person and you respect the person, so the message comes through and you're like, yeah, wow, I've got the message. But a lot of the times the message can come through somebody who you don't expect them to pass the message on to you, because they're not your favoriteest person. And also I would advise you to stop categorizing people. So when somebody does something that is negative, it might be their situation. Like, if you look further and deeper into their situation, you'll find that actually it makes sense why they feel how they feel and the way they're doing things, because everybody's got their situation. Everybody comes from a good place. This is how I feel. Everyone comes from a good place. It's just that sometimes they get misguided. So you absorbing the hurts that they are probably communicating about themselves, but they're projecting onto you. You absorbing it is a waste of time. You just have to bless it and be grateful that you are wise enough to be aware that it's not about you, it's about them. And how you find out about yourself is how you deal with those situations, because nobody can love you all the time. You know what I mean? No one can love you all the time and, you know, tell you you're great, and like, that can't happen all the time. You're going to have the challenges where people are going to try and test you and tell you actually you're not that good. And how you receive that information is really important. It actually defines the character that you are, in a way. So I hope that makes sense. So that's the advice I would say. Be open to receiving the message through various sources, and it might not be your favorite way you want to receive the message, but that's you can't dictate how the message comes through, because it might have come through in the most obvious way and you've not noticed it. So it has to come through a much more shocking, non-traditional way, and then you'll get the message, because it will vibrate or it will get louder and louder, but you will get the message. So that's what I would advise you to do. Be open to getting the message and the guidance, and it could come through the most unlikely space. So that's why you have to prepare. And also the negative energies, friends that you're magically like pulling into you. You need to manage those relationships. You will decide the type of relationship you want, whether it has to be non-existent or whether it has to be at a distance. You will decide. That's the message today, guys. Thanks, lovelies, for listening to this post. Take care of you. Bye, lovelies. Bye.